So, Michael, this shocked a lot of people, but now Natalie Elphicke is getting a lot of heat from her own side.
Well, it's not surprising. I mean, she is the most extraordinary fit with the Labour Party. I mean, she is far more right-wing than most of the people in the ERG. I remember at Christmas time, she was saying to me about the boat people coming across the English Channel that the Royal Navy should engage the French Navy and push these boats back into the middle of the English Channel. And if it meant attacking French naval warships as well, so be it. So,
Did you? Sorry. Michael Fabricant, the newest Labour MP, genuinely said to you she wanted to tackle French warships and potentially sink migrant boats.
It was extraordinary, and there are plenty of witnesses to the event. So, I just think, it was going to be difficult enough to keep her in the Conservative Party with views like that. I mean, she makes reform look like a bunch of Marxists.
Now, this is the line. So, now, Michael, we are hearing a lot about this, and of course she's not here to defend herself from these comments, but, you know, you're allowed to speak, free speech and all that. But,
absolutely.
Michael,
and plenty of witnesses.
The Conservative MPs are trying to get this narrative that she's the most right-wing MP ever, that she was even more right-wing than the ERG, more right-wing than the New Conservatives, more right-wing than everyone, whatever, more right-wing than Nigel Farage. That doesn't stop the fact. That doesn't stop. That doesn't change the fact.
I haven't spoken to anybody. I've not colluded with anybody.
Yes, but it doesn't change the fact, Michael. It doesn't change the fact, Michael, that Rishi Sunak is losing MPs by the dozen.
Well, what's that got to do with Natalie? I do not know. But anyways.
Well, we've got Nadim Zahawi today. We've got Nadim Zahawi coming out today to say that he's not going to stand at the next election. That makes him the 64th Conservative MP to say that. OK, so that's 64 going. They don't want to stand again for his party.
Yeah,
and we've got Natalie Elphicke defecting to the Labour Party, even though she's apparently so right-wing. So what on earth's going on, Michael?
Emily, I know you're trying to make us... Nadim Zahawi was Chancellor of the Exchequer briefly. He was, I can't remember now, another ministerial position. He's decided, like so many people, you get to a certain age, if you don't like being a backbencher, you stand down and then you perhaps get a job in business.
What about the other 63, Michael? What about the other 63? What about the other 63?
Sorry, Emily, you keep interrupting.
Sorry, Michael, but what about the other 63?
Well, let's go. You name them. This is going to be a boring interview, Emily, but if you want to go one by one through them, I'll happily talk to you about it.
We've got a graphic ready.
Well, as I can't see the graphic because it's all very, very tiny, let's all go through it one by one, but it's going to be a very boring interview on GB News.
Well, we do only have a few minutes left, Michael. I did want to talk to you about what has gone on over the last few weeks or even months, because this is the first time we've had you on the show since the local elections. You were very busy in the local elections, campaigning all around the West Midlands. You were campaigning hard. You were quite involved in the Andy Street operation. What went wrong?
Well, what went wrong? It was very, very close. I think it's first of all worth noting that he only lost by a Labour majority of 0.25%. I thought it was going to be a picture of me for a minute, but it wasn't. 0.25%. And basically, as someone pointed out, actually all it needed was one Conservative extra vote in each ballot box, and he would have won. What went wrong? It's quite interesting. I think what went wrong was, first of all, there was quite a Labour surge in Coventry. Well, why in Coventry, I don't know, but in Coventry, there certainly wasn't in Birmingham. The Birmingham Labour vote dropped substantially. And we didn't see many switchers. There wasn't Conservatives voting Labour. What we did get was, for example, in Solihull, where we normally get a lot of Conservatives coming out to vote, they just didn't come out to vote. So that's partly went wrong. And I'll tell you something else as well. It was originally the plan that he would take over, as in London, as in Manchester, as in Yorkshire, with their Labour mayors. he would take over the policing side. That didn't happen for all sorts of complicated technical reasons within the Home Office, which I still haven't forgiven them for, but Andy Street has, I think. That didn't go ahead. It meant some of our literature had to be changed at the last minute. So there was that issue too. But yeah, it was very close. But what I found very, very moving, in the House of Commons yesterday, I've had Labour MPs hugging me, and Conservative. I've had Plaid Cymru saying the same. One Labour MP said to me, I've had more than one Labour MP saying to me, you know what, my parents live in the West Midlands and they voted for Andy, so he was very good. Which only goes to show you can be an absolutely brilliant person delivering, but when the tide moves, the tide moves.
Well, could Andy Street run for Nadeem Zahawi's seat, perhaps? You want to keep him in politics?
A very, very interesting question, that. Yes, and in fact, I believe in Solihull they would be happy. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I understand.
That's Julian Knight's former seat, of course, who said he's standing down. Solihull, Julian Knight, the former Conservative MP, now independent, standing down.
Yeah. But I don't know if Andy would want to do that. You know, he's used to running things, used to run a business with 92,000 employees and a turnover of £13.5 billion. He was running the West Midlands, and by all accounts, very, very effectively too. And, you know, I've heard this from people who are not actually politically engaged, but, you know, are involved also in the running of various aspects of the West Midlands. He was very businesslike in the way he did that. I think, and I'm only guessing, I think he would like to run a large corporation, you know, I don't know, chairman of the BBC, director general of the BBC.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I suppose you have all of these politicians leaving their jobs in Westminster to go off and be mayors, whether it's places like the West Midlands or, I mean, London, of course. Sadiq Khan was formerly an MP. There are many examples of these big metro mayors.
It's a different skill set, though, Tom. It's a very different skill set, and you see it, actually. MPs are legislators. Now, I happen to have a business, but I'm not planning to be mayor, by the way. But, you know, I did have a business background before I came to be an MP. I was setting up radio and TV stations for a living all over the world. But most MPs don't have a business background. And suddenly, if they become mayors, you know, it's all about running something. It's not being a legislator. It's actually running something. And you really do need business people to get into that. And that's why Andy Street was such a good fit.
And in some ways, some of these big mayoralties, a bit more senior. It's an executive role rather than a legislator. You're not just one vote out of 650. You're the guy that makes the call, which I suppose is like, a more attractive prospect.
Yes, well, you know how I feel about all these mayoralties. Thank you so much, Sir Michael Fabricant. Great to chat to you. Hope you didn't mind me interrupting you.